Welcome back, everyone, to Data Science for Everyone. Today, we're going to be looking at props components with React. So, we're going to basically do an introduction to props in React. Now, this session, we're going to be leveraging React again, and we're going to be building up a nice business application focusing on the essentials of React props. Now, in the React ecosystem, props play a pivotal role in the amount of communication enabling seamlessly and how it flows for the information between parent and child components. So this is just like the HTML attributes in props are going to allow us to pass diverse JavaScript values. So this includes objects, arrays, functions, and this is going to enhance our usability. So props, and again, this is properties, all right? So how and what exactly are we going to be learning? Well, maybe before all of this, let me actually go on and start up a project here. And so we'll do npx create React app. And this one we're going to call employee profiles. So while this is, not npm, npx, sorry. And while this is being created, I'll kind of go over with you guys what we're going to be covering today. So specifically, we're going to be passing props to components. Now, this is going to utilize a technique of passing data from a parent to a child component utilizing props, and a fundamental concept that underscores the component-based architecture of React. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to reading props in components. So we're going to learn how to access and utilize the props passed to a component. This is going to allow us to dynamically content rendering and interactive user interfaces. Now, we're also going to look at default prop values. So understand how to define those values for props and ensuring that our components are going to be robust. Next, all right, we're going to be passing our JSX as props. And we're also going to look at props as component and component life cycles. So this is going to be allowing us to kind of gain some insight into how props can change over time. So let's actually go through and start up our practical example. So we'll do cd employee profiles, npm. And actually, I'm not going to do npm start right now. We'll just do code, and we're going to open this up. And we're going to go on to our app. And I'm going to go on and delete everything just so that we can get ready. So what we're kind of going to be really wanting to focus on, all right? So let's imagine we're going to actually make up, so sorry. This is going to be an employee profile card. So again, we're going back to some of the examples that we've had before, but we're just going to talk about it in a little bit different way. So I want you to imagine that a component structure is designed to display an employee's profile card within a corporate dashboard. Now, this example is going to kind of showcase us how to pass props, reading prop values, and dynamically update them based on user interaction and data retrieval. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to create up our dashboard. Okay, so this is just going to be our dashboard. So we'll import employee profile, and we're going to make this later on. Okay, so what do we want to call this? We'll do this as, okay, and what I'm doing this just to have a placeholder here, okay? Haven't declared it, haven't written it or anything, but I know that I'm going to want this employee profile, okay? So the next thing we want to do is create up a function here. Function, and this is going to be our dashboard. And it's going to take in some employee. Okay. Now it's going to return in here. We want it to return, and again, we'll make a div for now. And let's give it a class name here of dashboard. Okay. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. All right. So, and then inside of here, what do we want? We are going to want our employee. And actually, let's change this to employees because there's going to be more than one employee here. And we want to dot map. Okay, so we're going to map this out. We have our employee. And then it's going to have an employee profile. Okay. And inside of said profile, we want to have something like a key here, and this is going to be our employee.id. And then we're going to want an employee name. Then we will maybe want them to have a position. And then we are also going to have some photo URL. Employee.photo URL. Okay. So that's what we're the basics of what we want to have here, okay? So, and let's make sure that we have everything we want here. Yeah, I think this should be a-okay for now. Let's see here. We did not close the map. Well, we did close the map. Okay. Okay, I think we're good here. So if there's any issues, we'll look at them here in a bit. All right. So the next thing that we want in here, and actually, we can change this to here. Export default as well. All right. So the next thing we need here is we need a new file, and we're going to save this as. Here we'll change this to what? We had employee profile.js. All right. And so what are we going to have as our function here? So let's have a function here as employee profile. It's going to take in three things: name, position, photo URL. All right. So it's going to return. Then we want to have not a div class. Our div, and what do we want in here? Let's change this again to class name is equal to employee profile. And then inside here, we're going to give an image. And what do we want here? What do we want? Let's see here. Oops. All right, so inside the image, we're going to have our src, and this will be our photo URL. Oh, and we actually want this to be in curly brackets. And this is our photo URL. And let's have an alt text here. Okay, to be something like profile of name. And then inside here, let's have an H2. And this will be, what do we want in here? This will be their name. And we want maybe a paragraph tag, and this will just be their position. And we have the closing div tag. Good. So let's kind of read through each of these. Now, one thing that we currently don't have here, is also some data for it to pass through, and we'll take care of that in just a minute. But what's going to happen here is, first off, this dashboard component is going to receive an array of employees. Okay, so this is technically an array of employees, and it's going to map over this array to render the employee profile for each component in the employee. So here it's going to be name, position, and photo URL. And these are going to be passed as props to the employee, each employee profile. So again, that's to each employee profile here. All right. Now this is demonstrating how data is tailored and passed down the component tree. Now we have, for default prop values in a business context, default prop values can be particularly useful. For instance, we may want to set a default photo URL in employee profile. And if any employee's photo is not available, then you would just have some UI remains constant. Okay, so maybe you would have just like a little placeholder of a shadow of a figure or something. Now, as the JSX and as props. So while not actually shown here, all right, we can consider a scenario where we want to pass action buttons. So maybe an edit or delete as a child to the employee profile. And this would allow us to customize the actions available for each employee profile directly from the dashboard component. And this can showcase by the flexibility of JSX as props. Now, what are dynamic props? So in real-world applications, such as the position here, okay, might change, okay? So ergo, an employee gets a promotion. So what happens here is React components can be designed to respond to such changes. So we can re-render with updated props. This dynamic update mechanism is crucial for business applications where data changes frequently. So throughout these enhanced examples and discussions, we've actually seen a pivotal role of props in building dynamic data, data-driven React applications. Okay, so let's actually go on and actually add in some data. All right, now we can do this in a couple places, but we're going to do it. I believe the best place may be just maybe inside of our React dashboard. Let's see here. And actually, we could change this up just a little bit. And I think we're going to do that so that everything looks maybe a little bit more streamlined, okay? So let's change this. Instead of outputting our dashboard, let's actually create up a new function, and we're going to save this as dashboard.js. Okay, so this is our dashboard itself. We're going to move all of this to the dashboard. Okay, so we're still importing in our employee profile. We're using it. Now, what's happening is inside of our app.js, let's change this up just a little bit. So let's put in, we're going to have our data, but let's also import in React from React. Okay, let's import in our dashboard from, whoops, dashboard.js. And again, here we need to also, I guess I do need to keep this export just as we did with our functions here. I need to export default. And here we'll do an export default as well. Then we can go over here. We can grab our dashboard. So let's go on and have our sample employee data here. Well, this is going to be just a sample little data set. So let's do something. We need ID. One name is going to be, comma. Here's going to be Bob Barker. We have position. Position. He's going to be a and this actually needs to be inside of curly brackets. There we go. Position, let's have him be a software engineer 1, okay? And then we can have our photo URL here, and I think I still have those URLs somewhere. Let me pull them up. All right, there's our Bob Barker image. Now let's go on and maybe add in at least one more, maybe 2 more people in here. So I'm going to go on and just copy this so we have the basics down here. And this will be 2. This will be Bob Ross. He is a data viz analyst. And let me grab his visual. All right, now let me paste you in there. Oh, and it's a GIF, but I think that should be okay. We'll see how it does. And let's see what else we want in here. Let's add in our final function app in here, and let's do return. Here we're going to do, again, a div, and we want to put in, our dashboard. And we want our employees here to be employees. And we don't need that. And last thing here is to make sure that this is a class name is equal to app. And of course, in the end here, we want export default app. All right, and let's run this and take a look. So npm start. All right, so let's go on and finish up taking a look here. Oh, and it's blank. So let's go back and try and debug this. So if you look here, we see there's a warning here on lines 10 through 31. And again, here, this array prototype map expects the return of an arrow function, array callback return, 1 warning. So that means that it's in our dashboard. And again, I thought something was looking a little messed up when we were doing this again because we have this little error here. So let's go on and double check what we're missing here. And I'm going to go through and just take a quick look. So again, we have our map here, we have our arrow function, and we have another. And we can see here that it's not really liking our curly brackets or curly braces. So let's go on and change that up here so that it's returning it like this. And notice here now it says successful. And we should go back over. Oh, and we see here that our photos are really kind of taking over. Let's refresh this. I maybe should have picked some. Let me see if I can pick some smaller photos, or we can actually just do something to mess with the data real quick. And so let's just tell them to not be there. Okay. And notice here now we have just some little error codes here, and that's fine. Now we have Bob Barker, we have Bob Ross, but we're not seeing the other information that we would like to see. So where and how did that information go wrong? So are we still thinking that it is inside of here? Maybe. Okay. Or is it inside of here? All right, well, these all look good. So let's take a look. And as usual, my spelling looks pretty horrible. So if again, you can see here position and postition. Okay, so let's go back over and do position. Run back over there, and now you see our software engineer, Bob Barker, software engineer. Now we could always have our employee profile, our employee pictures as well, but again, they were quite large. Okay, so again, that is okay. It's just an example to show you what we could do with this information in here. So, and again, I would expect you guys to be able to resize these, etc., as you could. And again, now all you have to do is to add in another individual. Now, what I also wanted to show you was that there was the changes that needed to be made. So, for example, here, Bob Ross was a software engineer 1. What if he got promoted to senior software engineer? We change that, and notice now it dynamically changes to senior software engineer. So what have we kind of discussed today? Well, we've talked about the suitability of React applications in business environments. Now we've talked about the concepts of passing and reading in props, implementing default values, and dynamically updating those props so developers can create highly interactive, user-friendly applications. Now, based on React's component architecture, we can actually utilize and have efficient use of props, facilitating the development of modular, maintainable code bases. And this approach is not only enhancing the developer experience, but it also significantly contributes to the scalability of business applications. So if you guys like this and you want more of this content, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.